Hello, Leafs fans. It's another week at number one, another week at the top of the division. Despite everything that the Leafs have been through this season, with injuries to key players and goaltending and the ups and downs, the Leafs are still number one. They have a little bit of a cushion at number one, and it's good to see the Leafs are holding on. And last night was another good game. I feel the Leafs played good enough where if they had maybe a better goaltender in net, that it could have been another shutout night for the Toronto Maple Leafs over the Edmonton Oilers. That first goal by Josh Archibald, where the puck bounced past the Leafs defenseman and Morgan Riley was caught out of position and wasn't fast enough to catch up to Josh Archibald. That backhand between the legs was kind of a soft goal, in my opinion. And then they got that deflection goal on the slap shot from the point. And it's another play where, you think a butterfly goalie would be in a better position to make that save. That shot was going wide, and Hutchinson was on the other side of the net. It doesn't really make sense to me when that deflection happened. If the butterfly goaltender was just square, most often than not, it hits him or he's able to catch it with his glove. But the deflection went just underneath his glove, and Hutch wasn't in position to make that save. And unfortunately, on the overtime goal, he waved at it with his glove. It's another thing where you see a butterfly goaltender not really do the things that butterfly goaltenders do. So it's probably one of the main reasons why Hutch has never been a true backup and will never be a number one goalie. It's the inconsistencies in his positioning. He's not a very technical goalie, so it is what it is. I mean, the Leafs played a great game. They did everything they could to keep McDavid and Draisaitl in check, and they did keep those guys in check until the overtime. So, and even in overtime, Matthews and Marner got a chance to end that game before Edmonton scored. So, overall, I think the Leafs played really well. I believe with a better goaltender in net, they would have won that game. The second line of Galchenyuk and William Nylander and Tavares had another great night. They continued to do something that I've been preaching for a long time, and that's cycle the puck, generate lots of offensive zone time, and then get someone in front of the net and get the puck to the front of the net. And it's something that line does well. They cycle, and eventually somebody ends up in front of the net, and so does the puck. And when you have a goalie like Mike Smith in net, who's not the prettiest goalie, he does whatever he takes. He flip flops, he sprawls out. Um, it's it's something the Leafs should do a lot more. I don't think the top line does that as much in terms of cycling the puck, getting it behind the net, and getting it out in front and having someone there. That doesn't happen too much on the top line. And that's why I really hope this trade deadline the Leafs could go out and get somebody who can cycle the puck, like a Nick Foligno or Ricard Raquel, or even Mikhail Granlund is good at cycling the puck and then getting in front of the net and creating traffic. And Mitch Marner's goal last night, he drives to the net, creates a little bit of space for himself with his stick handling and his feet. And once he created that little bit of separation, you saw Mike Smith sprawl out, and then he put it in the top of the net. And that's what you got to do against goaltenders like that. And the same with the Austin Matthews goal. I mean, there was a lot of traffic in front. They created a little bit of commotion. Austin Matthews comes out with the puck. That's a little button hook, and Mike Smith. I think he's the biggest goalie in the NHL, and he drops to his knees, and Matthews goes over his shoulder. It's a shot that Matthews makes a lot. He tends to always shoot for the corners. I was really hoping he would do that in overtime. He had more than enough time to corral that puck and to get it off, try to go above the shoulder of Mike Smith, and he didn't do that. Mike Smith made the save, and the Oilers went the opposite way and scored a goal. So the Leafs are 6-2-1 against the Edmonton Oilers this season in their 9 games. They wrapped up their season series against the Oilers. And 6-2-1 is very indicative of how good the Leafs are against highly offensive teams. They can play defense against them. They can score with them. And, that 6-2-1 record is impressive against the Edmonton Oilers, considering how the Edmonton Oilers have played against the other teams in the Canadian division, and they've dominated those teams. And the Leafs are very good at playing defense, getting a lot of players in and around McDavid and Draisaitl, not giving them too much space, and most importantly, not taking many penalties. But it didn't seem like no matter what you did last night, the referees were going to call a penalty. There was some ridiculous things going on the ice. One player had John Tavares in a headlock, wouldn't let him get up. Referee standing on top of them, staring at them, and the guy just has John Tavares in a headlock, wouldn't let him get up. That's a penalty any day of the week. So it is what it is. The Leafs need to get the power play going. With the chances they did end up getting, they didn't really do anything with it. Both teams got one power play last night, and that's just the way it was going to go. The referees weren't going to call anything that wasn't egregious, that wasn't super obvious. So at this point in the season, there's not really much to complain about. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of things going on. Campbell didn't even dress last night. They gave him the night off completely just in case Hutchinson got pulled. The Finnish goalie Vevalainen was going to go in. And personally, I would have loved to see him play last night. Based on everything that I've read and everything that I've heard, even Elliot Friedman said it last night. He said, based on everything he's heard, everybody just says he's solid. And I think that's all the Leafs needed last night, was just a solid goalie, make a couple of saves, and the Leafs could have won that game easy. And I like the way the Leafs are trending right now. Matthews looks like he's shooting more. His shot looks much better. His wrist looks better. And that second line with Tavares, Galchenyuk, and Nylander is starting to generate a lot of chances. And John Tavares is shooting with a purpose again. Last night, he hit the crossbar on a beautiful shot over the shoulder of Mike Smith. So, if Matthews can get going and that second line can continue to generate the chances that they're generating, Leafs are going to be super dangerous. And if the Leafs can pick up a left winger for that top line and let Joe Thornton, Simmons, Hyman, Spezza slot into the proper places on the third and fourth line, the Leafs will probably have the deepest team I've seen in a very, very long time. Just deep at forward. Defense looks good. Hopefully the goaltending stays healthy. We'll see what happens. Jack Campbell is expected to suit up and start Wednesday against the Winnipeg Jets, which is also a big game in the standings. So, other than the goaltending problems, it's going to be interesting. I said in my last video that I think the Leafs are poised to go on a little bit of a run with Matthews and Tavares stepping up their offensive play and creating chances and scoring goals. So uh, there's not that many games left in the season. I think the Leafs have 6 against Winnipeg, 6 against Montreal, um, and then I think it's 3 against Vancouver, or 3 against Calgary, 4 against Vancouver, and maybe 2 against Ottawa or something like that. So 9 of the last 21 games is completely winnable against the bottom teams of this division. And then Montreal and Winnipeg are the only true, the real hard games that they're going to play to end out the season, to finish the season. So if the Leafs just take care of business, they will finish the season in first, win their division, which is what I'm hoping they're going to do. Winning their division gives them a great chance. It gives them the opportunity to play the 4th place team in this division to start the playoffs, and whether that's Montreal or Calgary or Vancouver at this point. I mean, there's not a lot of points separating those guys. It should be a relatively easy first round for them, and then I would personally love to see Leafs Montreal first round and then Leafs Edmonton second round. That would be a dream come true for a Canadian hockey fan. As a Leaf fan, I just want to see a 7-game battle with the Montreal Canadiens and a 7-game battle with the Edmonton Oilers. And if the Leafs can win both those series, I'd be on cloud 9 going into the conference final, having beat those guys. I'd be super excited. And most probably you're going to end up playing someone like the Tampa Bay Lightning or something like that. They're on fire this season, so it's great because on the other side, you're going to see Tampa, Boston, the New York Islanders really battle it out in some tough 7-game series. And, they could be banged up. They could be tired by the time they get to the Leafs or whoever comes out of this division in the Eastern Conference Final. And it's a great opportunity this season. Whoever comes out of this division, the Canadian division, is going to have a great opportunity to win a lot of games in the playoffs, and I'm hoping that's the Leafs. Their defense and their goal scoring has been amazing, even though their power play has completely gone to shit. The Leafs' power play has been completely ineffective, and they're still winning games and still getting points, and their penalty kill has not been very good. And despite all these problems, power play falling apart, penalty kill not being good, goaltending injuries, having to play third string guys, the Leafs are still in first place, and that's a very positive sign. When all this gets sorted out, hopefully Freddie's back sooner than later and he's completely healthy. I think a completely healthy Freddie Anderson will skyrocket this team in a positive trajectory. And considering, Sheldon Keefe came out yesterday and said, we're going to give Campbell the day off. Keefe said he's not used to playing every other game. He's not used to this kind of workload. He has to, people think it's, he's done good in 4 games and let's just give him the starting goal. To manage your body, to manage your rest, to manage everything, being a number 1 goalie in the NHL, facing as many shots as you do, it's a very hard thing. It's not this 4-game sample or the 6-game sample that Campbell has put up. It's been good, but it's only 6 games. This guy's never been a starter in the NHL. He's only played 9 or 10 games for the Leafs in his career. He's played 70 games in the NHL. This guy has no idea what it's like to be a starter playing 60 games. And for Leaf fans to just hand the number 1 job to this guy, he is a complete unknown, Jack Campbell. Yes, he can be good, but can he be good playing 10 games straight? He's never done that in his career. So it's hard to say, Jack Campbell should be the guy when he's never done it. That's why they say he's an unknown. It is a hard hard thing to be a number one goaltender, to play a lot of minutes, to face a lot of shots, and to play regularly. It's a lot to manage on the body. Being a goaltender is not an easy thing, and Campbell has a nagging injury because he's starting to learn what it's like being a starting goaltender and how you have to manage your body. He's doing that for the very first time, and it's a scary thing. I think the Leafs will go as far as Freddie Anderson takes them, and that's not a hot take at all. Freddie Anderson knows what it's like to play 60 games in a season and then take you into the playoffs and play against tough teams. I mean, Freddie Anderson put up a 9-2-2 against the Bruins and a 9-3-6 versus Columbus. Those are great numbers. And how do I know? Vasilevsky won the Stanley Cup with a 9-2-7, which is right in between 9-2-2 and 9-3-6. You know, you just need your team to show up, score some goals, and kill some penalties like the way that Tampa Bay Lightning did last year. And they scored some timely goals, and their special teams were special, and the goalie did his job. And Freddie Anderson has done his job. You know, you can try to shrink the sample size as much as you want to say, well, in game sevens he does this. Well, what has the rest of the team done in game sevens that Freddie Anderson didn't do? Was it the 4 pizzas Jake Gardiner gave up against the Bruins? Was it that Morgan Riley wasn't good defensively? Or was it that Mitch Marner didn't score a single goal against the Columbus Blue Jackets in 5 games? I mean, it's easy to say in closing games, in game 5 and game 7s and this, it's easy to point the finger at one guy. But Mitch Marner didn't score any goals. He had 1 primary assist. At the end of the day, it's not about blaming. The team needs to show up, and the team needs to play well. It's not just Freddie Anderson. The Bruins didn't beat the Leafs because Freddie Anderson wasn't good. If you go look back, Freddie Anderson had some 40 save nights where he's diving across the net to make some stick saves that are unbelievable saves to keep the Leafs in the game and to win games for the Toronto Maple Leafs. People say Freddie hasn't won you shit. Freddie Anderson has single-handedly won you games. The first 2 games against the Columbus Blue Jackets, Freddie Anderson let in 1 goal in 2 games. But the Leafs only won the game where he posted a shutout. You got to show up and you got to score goals. Freddie Anderson, even if he puts up a shutout every night, you still have to score goals to win a game. Freddie Anderson can't score goals and he can't make saves at the same time. So if he only lets in 1 goal and the Leafs didn't score any goals, that's not his fault. That's not why you lost. You lost because your offensive guys didn't show up. So it's gonna be an interesting run down the stretch. 21 games left. That's gonna come and go real quick. Leafs are pretty much playing every other night. And like I said, their schedule isn't too difficult. 6 against Winnipeg, 6 against the Montreal Canadiens, and 9 against Calgary, Vancouver, and the Ottawa Senators. So all they got to do is take care of business, and this division is theirs. It doesn't matter if Edmonton or Winnipeg go on a run. If the Leafs take care of business against Winnipeg and Montreal and the bottom feeding teams in this division, that's all they have to do. So go Leafs go. I see a lot of positives with this team right now. They're dealing with adversity well. And there's other than the goaltending situation, there's not much to complain about. Galchenyuk has been a great add. He's the prototypical Kyle Dubas pickup. If you've paid attention to Kyle Dubas's drafting, high-end skill, high ceilings on players, and size doesn't matter. And Galchenyuk is one of those high-risk, high-reward guys. Worst comes to worst, they put him in the minors if he doesn't work out, but he's a high hockey IQ, high ceiling type of player. He's made some great plays. Just as long as he keeps up this work ethic that he's showing, and he's hard on the forecheck, and he's turning over pucks, and he's letting John Tavares and Nylander do their thing. His playmaking and his hands have been great. So he's made some great passes, and he's making that line look great. If that line can keep clicking like this, and Matthews has started to score, watch out. The Toronto Maple Leafs are going to steamroll this division. So here's to health. Here's to puck luck. Go Leafs, go. See you guys after the next game. Stay safe, everybody.